was some weeks ago, left and asked for his money back because he thought Abraham was advocating for Trump. And right before that, someone left because they thought that we were advocating for. Esther's laughing because she knows that we are not advocating for anything specific. We are advocating for your understanding of how you create your own reality. And we don't want to seem unpatriotic while we are. Because we understand that your point of attraction, while it can be influenced by outcomes, especially outcomes that a lot of people are focused upon, it does not need to be that. But we also understand that if you had the opportunity to talk to infinite intelligence,
right, and I am right now,
and you could ask, what's the most significant thing that you want to know that has just been recently activated, aggravated, or maybe even created within you? What new powerful question do you have? Because you started out with one that we know you didn't mean. Do I really create my own reality? Because if I do, I wouldn't have created that. And then it's the question that our friend asked a little bit ago, but if there are other people that are intending, then whose reality gets to be the one that's created?
Well, I think that's the thing, is like so many of us, I have this belief, but it's also, here's the thing, there were two candidates. And in this general spiritual community, or people who create their own reality, we tend to lean more towards love, or thoughts of love towards one another. And even though the country was 50-50 or more 50-50, the world generally was leaning one direction, more towards love. And I think that's why we're a little shell-shocked.
But here's the thing. There was not a lot of love being demonstrated by either candidate or by the media. And some years ago, Esther was watching a television commercial, and it was about medical stuff. And she was very upset by it, and she said, don't they know they're promoting illness? And we said, Esther, don't be hard on the medical community, because it has risen in response to the asking of the masses. And so your political arena is that way too. So if you really want to understand what happened in a way that will maybe soothe you and maybe won't, because usually we speak in terms of laws and all of that stuff that you want to roll your eyes and say blah blah blah. We've heard about the vortex enough damn times, Abraham. Now we want to talk about something that is more specific. So here is an answer that's closer to what you're reaching for in explaining what has happened. And this is something that almost nobody really understands. While you may be a nation, or a world really, but let's keep it to one thing at a time here. While you appear to be a nation who has a lot of different views on a lot of different things, you keep wanting to come together in groups because you believe that's where your power is. So the first thing that is happening to you as individuals is that you're not really believing in your own personal power. You want to join a group so that you'll have more power, and that is not ever going to serve you very well, because you cannot control the dynamics of the group, and because often the group, no matter how much you lean in the direction of it, it really does not represent you well. So then you take a subject like kindness or love, and you say, well, at least most of us can agree about that. And it's not just those that you think are part of the community that you are part. Everyone really wants that. There is not anyone that is really advocating for hate. Sometimes they just get swept up in it and they don't know what to do about it when it's sweeping them over. But no one is really consciously or deliberately asking for that. But here's something that you may not have considered, even though we talk about it all the time. Everyone is personally selfish. You have to start there, and we're asking you to accept it just for a moment, because you cannot see other than through the eyes of self. So let's say that instead of being a part of the very small percentage that comes to a gathering like this, who is coming to believe that you create your own reality, let's say that you're part of a much larger group of more than 99% of the population who does not know that you create your own reality, who still believes that somebody else is going to create it, and it's either going to be that one or that one. Now, that in and of itself is a pretty disempowering state of being. In other words, we wouldn't want to be in either of those political parties who believe that it's going to depend on this squabbling bunch of people who can't even get together to agree on anything, not during the last 4 years, not in the 4 years before that, not in the 4 years before that, not really ever. So if you've come to believe that your well-being depends upon what they are going to agree on, and they have made it very clear to you that they have no intention of ever agreeing with each other ever, even if somebody over there has a good idea, we're still not going to agree with it, because we would rather be right than agreeable or than feel good. So now we don't want to get too carried away with that. Let's get back to this premise that really will serve you. So if everyone really is selfishly oriented, and everyone is, which means as you live life, when things touch you, you know what you don't want, which causes you to know what you do want. But if you don't know about law of attraction, if you've not been listening to us for a while, if you don't realize that you've created this vortex, so you don't have hope because there is a vibrational reality even while your current reality is not pleasing you, then your needs become sort of paramount in your mind. And every now and again, a really good salesman will enter your midst who understands how to influence you toward something that is important to him. So if you are a coal miner who is not working, you want work more than anything. That's your selfish interest. And people can stand and say, but wait, there are other things that should be more important to you than the thing that you're selfishly interested in. Or if you're a steel worker, or if you used to make a lot of money and now you're not making very much money, or if you are afraid that you are on the wrong side of the law relative to this or relative to this, a really good salesman is very good at understanding how to inspire you to see him as the solution. So this conversation is about a population that was feeling so much personal, selfish, out of controlness with no options other than this one or this one. And so it is logical that the one that is speaking directly to their selfish interest would be the one who would get their ear. Right. Isn't it?
I love her, but he's a much more direct speaker, and he does speak, I just know.
Spoke directly to those needs over and over and over again, so loudly and so clearly that the lack of kindness was overlooked, the lack of dignity was overlooked, the lack of decorum was overlooked, because my selfish interests were at least being listened to. Now, this is not a conversation about why we think that what happened was a good thing. That's not what we're saying at all. We're saying law of attraction never gets it wrong. We're saying that what's being offered vibrationally is always what is the current outcome. But the current outcome is also the bouncing off place for so much that is so much better. And so it is our desire that anyone that's focused upon this with any sincere, and we know you have sincere concern, and there are a lot of people that are feeling sincere concern about this. It is our desire that you just get a little whiff of this. It makes no difference who thinks they are in control of you. They aren't. We would like you to get a little whiff of this. The balance of your vibrational mass consciousness is of such balance that it is your strength, not your weakness. Your diversity is your greatest asset. But no matter which side of any issue most people stand on, they don't think that the people on the other side of that balance are adding any value. They only think that the value is added by their perspective, but that value is added by all of the perspective. And out of it, billions of people are sifting and sorting and launching vibrational rockets of desire. And it is our promise to you that the sources within all of you are hearing you, feeling you, knowing, and standing in the middle of the vortex, and that life just gets better and better and better. And those who want to explain that life isn't getting better don't understand. They have a very narrow view. or those that want to persuade you to move in one direction or another because they've convinced you that if you don't go their way, it won't be better, don't know what they're talking about. You've listened to us for a long time. We know that you've heard us say, because we say it often and we mean it most of all, that whatever it is that you're offering vibrationally is what is coming back to you. And whatever's coming back to you is giving you a bouncing off place for your next decision. And that you can't get it wrong and you never get it done. And the reason you can't get it wrong is because it's never done. When we say to you that it is the vibrational basis of diversity that is the reason for not just our longevity, all of us, but our eternalness, then if you could feel what your inner beings are feeling, you would understand that when we talk about the leverage of connecting to that vortex or to that getting into the receptive mode, when you tap into that leverage where you have connected to your true power, then you, for the time that you're doing it, and we want you to master it, you begin to feel invincible. And when you feel invincible, meaning you've connected to your own power, and you know that your destiny is of your own making, and all of that fear leaves you because you can't be connected to all of that power and feel fear at the same time, then you are living happily ever after. You're not looking around the world for others to join you in groups in order to shore up your insecurity, because there is no insecurity, you see. And that is the greatest gift that this particular upheaval-ish conversation can give to all of you. If you can recover from this and feel more empowered, then what you've asked for in your vortex has been answered. Oh, Abraham, I don't think I asked for that. Abraham, are you saying that I wanted my sense of empowerment so much that I asked for uncontrollable upheaval that I couldn't control? That I asked for conditions that could not soothe me?
I've had to have this conversation with myself many times this week, and that's what I've personally have come to is like, I woke up Wednesday morning and I was like, the thing you were fearing the most happened. So the only thing I have right now is to go back to lining up again.
So when you say the thing I feared the most happened, are you talking about I focused upon something so fervently that I, for quite a long period of time, lost my connection to my resources and source? Is that what you were referring to? The worst possible thing that could happen?
I thought I wasn't.
That's the only bad thing that can happen to you, is that you can temporarily use some bogus thing as your reason for not knowing your power. And when you don't know your power, then you give it to somebody else. And there are plenty of others that would like to say, I'll take your power from you. I'll take your power. I'll let you believe that I'm the most important thing in the world to you. And the wonderful thing, we are patriotic actually, because the wonderful thing about this system of government that you've got going on here is that it is so balanced in terms of diversity that nobody really gets in your way that much. And what's worrying you is that you think that, oh, now more people are going to be in the way of what I want. And we say, they've not been giving you what you want anyway. They haven't been giving you what you want anyway. It doesn't matter which one of them, which group is in power. They're not ever the vortex through which your good comes. But they are often the subject by which you deny your own vortex. And so it doesn't matter which group is in, if it doesn't please you, and half are pleased and half are not pleased. So the half that's not pleased is now using that group as their excuse that they are pinching themselves off from their own resources. And if we were standing in your physical shoes, there would be no one that we would let pinch us off from our own resources. You have a vibrational cache that you have access to at all times. That's the only disempowerment that can ever come to you, to use anything as your excuse not to tap into that.